shit. All right, let's get into it, man. First news segment. This is from CNBC. 64% of unemployed men in their 30s have criminal records, a barrier to landing a job. More than half of unemployed men in their 30s have criminal records, a dynamic with implications for hiring practices, ongoing challenges finding workers during the pandemic labor crunch, according to research published by economists at Rand Corp. About 6% of men at the age of 35 are unemployed, according to the study. By that age, 64% of those jobless males had been arrested as adults. 46% had been convicted of a crime. 27% had been incarcerated. The study is the first to estimate the prevalence of a criminal record among the unemployed population, according to Rand. I'm going to jump a couple of bullet points down. Millions of Americans have stayed out of the workforce, even as the U.S. economy has come out of hibernation, whether due to COVID-related health fears, child care duties, early retirements, or other reasons. However, research suggests a criminal record reduces access to job opportunities. Applicants with criminal records were 60% more likely to get a callback from employers, even though the records of other applicants were minor, according to a 2017 Michigan University study. The probability of unemployed men in their 30s having a criminal record isn't correlated to race, which is interesting. The chances are similar across white, Black, and Hispanic jobless men, according to Rand. However, this doesn't mean that the labor experience is felt similarly across racial groups. That's because 35-year-old Black men are almost twice as likely as white men to be unemployed, a 9% unemployment rate versus 5%, according to the study. Black men are also much more likely than other groups to have a criminal record. All right, fellas. What do we think about men, Black men, criminal records, unemployment?
These dudes made it clear. Just to be clear, this is not a racial thing. I'll go first. What do I think? I think that if it's a situation where somebody may have been wrongly accused, then that sucks. And I'll also add in, maybe if you committed a crime when you was like 16 and tried as an adult, I think there should be something where that's not necessarily held against them, depending on what the crime is. But aside from that, that shit is just like tough breaks, man. Unless I know somebody personally, or depending on, what my job, what my business is, I don't know that I want to hire somebody who committed a crime. I'm just being honest. Whether it might be a effed up way of thinking, because they may have very well went back and changed their mindset. But if I had to choose, I'd go with the people who didn't have a record.
Man, you don't. All right, go ahead. My bad. I ask you a question after the other fellas go. Who's up next?
Well, I'll say this. You said that the record of the 16 that's tried as an adult. Most of these, it says by that age of 35, 64% of these males have been arrested as adults. So they ain't had shit to do with them being 16 or anything. But at the end of the day, like, there are a lot of males that are followers and not necessarily leaders. They get jammed up because they trying to do what they think their friends are doing and shit. Like, at the end of the day, you can't get arrested, bruh. Like, you can't get arrested and think that, people are going to turn the other cheek for your ass. Like, at the end of the day, this shit, it says more than half of unemployment men in their 30s have a criminal record. Why the fuck do y'all have a criminal record? I did some bullshit. I ain't got no criminal record. I did some real bullshit. I ain't got no criminal record. I'm just saying, like, at the end of the day, it is fucked up. Outside of that, though, I would give a person an opportunity, and they do have programs like that for convicts who are coming out. But this also said 46% of these have been convicted of a crime, and 27% of these people have been incarcerated. So if you're convicted of a crime, or even if you were incarcerated, I don't mind giving you an opportunity. It just depends on what it is. In my field right now, you wouldn't be able to work in that field because you got a record. You got a criminal record. So you're not getting near kids and shit. You know what I mean? So, but for me to, if I was in a position and I can hire you for something else, I wouldn't mind hiring a person that got a criminal record. I still will deal with them as an individual. You know what I mean? I still would deal with that person as the individual male that they are, not, looking at their criminal record and thinking that this is what they are. Asterisk murders, rapists, those are different. Okay. I don't think I can give them necessarily another opportunity, just because it might, be too close to home, so to speak.
So sticking to the facts or what the details are, that these guys were adults when they were, arrested and tried and so forth and so on. They were, incarcerated, whatever the case may be. That is just the rules of the game. You can't be mad. I mean, no dude wants to marry up, a hoe. Like you don't turn a hoe into a housewife. I mean, and yeah, there are, there's sometimes exceptions. It's like a dude might be like, oh, well, I was a hoe back in the day and she ain't get pregnant by nobody. I mean, but, if the dude says, well, she was a porn star or she was, a prostitute, that might take it over the ledge. So you can't be mad that people aren't necessarily hiring criminals, like actually, guilty criminals.
Yeah.
Me personally, as a business owner, I'm with Smith. I would never hire a rapist or someone who murder or assault, because those scenarios are behavioral. Those are behavioral scenarios.
Yes.
Versus like someone who's involved in theft, such as auto theft, or they robbed the store, or they sold drugs on the street. You're looking for an income to, establish yourself so that you can live, whatever the case may be, comfortably. Like you don't have, you're not trying to hurt anybody. You're trying to, get by. I look at drug dealing as, even though it's illegal, I look at it as a business. I look at it as a hustle. You know what I mean? So the whole thing is, it's like, if I'm going to give you a legal hustle to do, and you're going to put the same skills and ability into that as you did into the drug dealing, you might be successful. You know what I mean? If I give you an income so you don't have to steal, then you're, less likely to steal. But behavioral wise, if you're someone who is assaulting people because of anger issues, or because you don't know how to act, or you're a murderer because, once again, it's a behavioral issue, you don't have control of yourself, or you're a rapist, once again, it's a behavioral issue. You have no control of yourself. You are a fucking animal, and I want you nowhere near me, my family, my business, or in my fucking neighborhood, So there's definitely a difference.
Yes, yes, I agree with that. You are a fucking animal, and nah.
You know what though, Schubert? I'm not hiring a thief either.
You're not hiring what, Kel? Say that again. A thief.
Yeah, I'm not hiring somebody as a thief either. Like.
So, Kel, you tell me there's no scenario. There's no scenario, Kel, that you would say that you would be forced to steal.
Yeah, I was about to say.
It don't matter, even if you're forced to steal. I mean,
you ever heard of the play Les Miserables? You ever heard of the play Les Miserables?
Yes.
The whole story is about a cop who's chasing down this dude who stole a loaf of bread to feed his family during the French Revolutionary War, where, everyone is in poverty, everyone is fucking struggling. And this cop was like dead heart set on getting this guy for stealing bread to feed his family. You don't see some sort of injustice in that?
It's a dude that got caught in a store and he was stealing some food to feed his family. I'm hiring that brother.
Matter of fact, you saw that a lot during the Great Recession after 2008. There was a lot of people set back. Well, I never forget a heart-wrenching story where I saw an old man rob a convenience store. He left a letter saying, I will pay you back once I get back on my feet. But he needed money to pay for his wife's medication because he couldn't find a job.
Don't forget George Floyd.
Hold on.
The reason why he got stopped
was I get that. Are we talking about in this current economy where there's jobs to be had?
But if he has that record, but
you know who the most common? You know who the most common is to steal?
No, that's not. No, Kelly. Yes, that's not accurate. Though we're saying that he already had a record.
No, but if he
stole something, if he got a record for stealing something, he didn't have a record at the time when he stole something.
He didn't. So but you're saying that. But what I'm saying is, you saying that you wouldn't hire a thief. He committed this crime during a time where everybody was struggling. You're telling me that you wouldn't hire him now, today?
I mean, what type of theft did this dude do that he's been in jail for so many years? Like, he stole a loaf of bread. Because I'm thinking
it's not just
a loaf of bread.
But it's not him just serving the sentence. It's just saying that people with a record. So like he could have just served a year and that was it. But it's just like if he found himself unemployed,
he could have served
30 days. How long?
Yeah, he could have served 30 days.
But he got a record still.
But he got a record for stealing. He's a theft in your eyes.
You said because they had people getting hired.
I get that. So now in this scenario, I'm thinking back to how many years has it been since we've been in what's that? A recession,
where we recession in 2008?
where people have been going out to try to get jobs and they haven't been able to get a job. Now, I mean, unless you're saying, okay, the job that I have doesn't pay me enough money, so now I pay all my bills, I still have to go steal. Then the job that I'm employing you in now isn't gonna. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if I'm a big time company and now I'm employing you to have a career. But if you was getting paid minimum wage and you didn't have enough money and you had to steal, now you're coming looking for another minimum wage job, or is this like what jobs aren't being hired? Because if I'm employing you in a job where you're making pay that's similar to the pay when you were stealing, what's the difference?
The difference is that you're willing to hire him because he has a record, and everybody else won't fucking hire him.
Yeah, but the last
fucking record.
So then my job that I'm
you got a record. It's hard to get a job.
So I got you. What I'm saying is, I get that part, Smith. But before I like, what caused me to go steal? Was it because my job wasn't paying me enough? Is it because I couldn't get a job? And then if the answer is I couldn't get a job, how many years ago was this that you stealing a loaf of bread to where you couldn't go get a job when you did not have a record?
So I
get to stealing loaf of bread back in whatever day when I'm assuming in Les Miserables they didn't have government assistance, correct?
Well, that was simply a story.
Yeah, I think you got caught up in the loaf of bread and Les Miserables.
Yeah, it's a story to reflect how how we as a society have these dead set lines without any type of compassion. Now, here's the thing. You got to realize, because I know dudes that, used to, be stick-up kids and this, that, and the other. These are guys that got a lease, rent, this, that, and the other. They may have a job at, like, a McDonald's or this, that, and the other. They might even have a real job, like, or I don't know. They might have a job making $10, $12 an hour. But the whole thing is getting by, making ends meet, enough to keep the lights on, enough to feed the baby, enough to do the right thing, this, that, and the other. Sometimes people get desperate. And because people get desperate, they may go out here with no intention to harm anyone, but just to make ends meet, they go out and they rob a store, or they rob somebody that's, that looks like they're pretty well to do. They're not robbing little grandmothers. And just to put in perspective, speaking of grandmothers, that old people, senior citizens, are highly likely to shoplift and steal because
I did
they are
see something,
on a
fixed
very
income
tight budget.
Yeah, a low fixed income. Yeah,
they are the most common to go stealing from a store, whether it be candy, cookies, food, water, whatever the case.
And commit fraud.
Most common. Yep. Because and that's what George Floyd was guilty of. All right.
But now, Schubert, in that situation, is my job as an employer that I could potentially give to this convict, is it that much more higher paying than the job that you had that caused you to make ends meet? Because if it's not, then what's making me?
So here's the thing, Henry. Here's the power that you have. All right. Here's the power that you have as an employer you can give this guy a chance, give him an income so that he could try to work and build on something. All right. Or you could say, fuck him, just like everybody else. And then when he goes back and become a repeat offender, you're mad.
I'll put it to you like this, Henry. He could be in a situation like this where he was working. He has 2 jobs. But unfortunately, he also has 3 kids. And unfortunately, they're by different mothers. And unfortunately, he was put on child support. And unfortunately, all the child support is being taken out of his check. And he doesn't see anything. He still can't fucking live. Like, these situations are real. Real. You know what I mean?
Like,
so
I understand not.
I get all of that.
Assaulting. I
get that.
When you don't.
So what's wrong with?
So here's my question.
You're not trying to hire the guy that embezzled $35 million from the company, bruh.
Here's my question in both of those scenarios.
But
and maybe I'm misunderstanding it.
Wait,
no, Smith, I want to
listen. But if there's a fair evader, because you already said that you basically wouldn't hire somebody.
Yeah, but Smith, here's what I'm saying. If so, the job that can potentially employ him with, is it paying him more than he was making when he worked in 2 jobs?
It's going to pay him the money that he needs to survive.
So I mean, is this what the article's saying?
Listen,
the article ain't got nothing to do with what you're paying the employee, man.
At the end of the day,
but I'm saying the jobs that they can't get, are they like minimum wage jobs? Are they careers? Are they like
they can't get jobs because they have a record. It doesn't matter what the job is they're trying to get, Henry.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Maybe I'm not explaining this right. Maybe I'm not explaining this right.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. You're saying that the jobs that jobs are not going to give him an opportunity, and it's not going to change his situation.
No,
here's the thing.
Yes, that is what I'm saying.
That's what he's saying. And then the whole thing is, and I get where you're coming from with that, but the whole thing is that it's better to give him something to work with than give him absolutely nothing to work with. Because any animal backed up into a corner becomes dangerous. Any animal that's hungry enough and backed into a corner is a very dangerous animal.
I'll put it to you like this, Henry. If you got into a situation where you got arrested, would you want somebody to hire you?
Yes, but I will understand why they wouldn't. Of course, I wouldn't. Of course, I just say no.
You wasn't even guilty. You just got jammed up in some bullshit.
No. Keep him as guilty.
Like that's
keep him as guilty. My whole thing
the thing is, would you want somebody to give you a chance? And that's the thing about us as Americans.
Obviously, we
want to stay on this holier than thou bullshit. And we want opportunities that everybody would want. And you would, if you got jammed up in some bullshit, you would want somebody to give you a goddamn opportunity.
I said I would, but I also said that I would understand why they wouldn't.
I'm not talking about that part. I'm talking about the part that you would want somebody to give you the opportunity.
Of course you would, but I also understand. I'm saying yes.
I understand what they're doing, but the bottom line is,
hold on. But here's the
that's all.
But here's the crux of it. Here's the crux of it. And I hear Kel, at least he's being honest. It's like, yo, I would want a job, but I understand they wouldn't give me a job. But now, let's say nobody's giving you a job, and your stomach's starting to hit your back.
Exactly.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do
with all these? I'm about to tell you what I'm about to do. I'm gonna do what all these trifling baby mamas do and just live off of government support.
Government support them, bruh. Government don't support criminals, bro.
Exactly.
You don't even get get Pell Grants like that as a criminal to even pursue higher education.
I'm gonna find me a hood chick who got some kids who living off of government. I'm telling you what I'm gonna do. Who living off of government assistance and mooch off of her. And if that don't work, then I'm going to the homeless shelter. I ain't gonna have no money.
Wow. Yeah, well, you're better than most, bro, because most people ain't trying to.
This is what Smith's scenario, and I understand what you say. I get what you guys are saying.
No, that ain't
the average person. No,
my scenario, man.
I
ain't going. You can go to a homeless shelter all you want, Henry. That shit ain't gonna work out, and that's why most of the people that's in the homeless shelter don't go to the homeless shelter, bro. Like that shit sounds good. That shit sounds good in theory, but bro.
Yeah, the accommodation in a homeless shelter is trash, bro. Motherfuckers don't stay in that bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
They do that. I volunteered at a homeless shelter twice in my life. And that was on some involuntary shit. And I told myself I'm
not going to voluntarily go to no fucking homeless shelter.
Yeah,
and here's the thing: I've worked with homeless shelters, and I do a lot of philanthropy for homeless shelters. And here's the thing: the rules of this is the fact that them shelters are open and close at certain hours. So by 9 a.m. you got to get the fuck out and go look for a job. by 5 or 6 p.m., you got to bring your black ass
inside.
And,
yo, like they got it.
And finally, here's the thing with this homeless shelter: you're only allowed to be there for a certain period of time, something like 90 days or less, and then you got to find another one or circle back, in another 90 days or so.
So then,
it's not not just let you stay there.
I got you. So under your logic, the only people who need to be homeless and not given any shots at all is the murderers and the rapists. They deserve no chance at all, but everybody else does. What if it's a scenario where it's a young man whose mother is getting beat up by the boyfriend of the dad, and he kills the dad? Does he get a chance?
Context matters too, though.
But that's what I'm saying. So
But here's the thing. That kid will fall under manslaughter, which is completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Murder. Hold on.
Murder,
difference.
Not the same.
Assault, murder, and rape means that you have the intent of hurting a person.
Mm-hmm.
Manslaughter means that you were in a situation and you did not mean to kill the person, but that was the end result. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, like,
no, he intended him. I see you hurt my mom. I'm gonna go.
No.
I don't think you get in it. I think he's talking about. So let's say talking about the charges.
Let's say somebody breaks into my house, right? Somebody breaks into my house.
This isn't the scenario I painted, though. I'm speaking specifically to the scenario that I said.
Okay.
I don't need to hear any other scenario.
All right. Using your scenario, the kid goes to defend his mother. He punches the dude in the jaw. The dude falls back, hits his head on the kitchen floor, which is concrete.
The kid sees his mom getting beat up. The dad's sleeping later, and he stabs him in his sleep because he's upset that his mom got beat up.
Well, then that kid is murder.
That's murder. Like that's
what
murder.
I'm saying. So now, does he deserve a second chance?
No.
He murdered somebody, bro. Like he murdered someone.
Murder is not the same thing.
Murder.
Because here's the thing. Here's the difference. Here's the difference, Kel.
Listen, I'm not disputing it. I was just asking to see if you say that the murderers and the rapists don't get a second chance. If those niggas gotta go to the shelter.
They don't get a second chance.
Because here's the thing. In the scenario where the kid stabs the dude in death, you had the opportunity to get the fuck out of that situation.
Exactly.
You didn't try to take that opportunity to get the fuck out. You plotted and planned to kill this motherfucker.
He could have called police. He could have did a lot of things. He decided
now,
that
if the dude was beating the shit out your mom. So, for instance, one of my friends was just telling me about a scenario that happened most recently. All right, where his baby mama was breaking up with her boyfriend. The boyfriend lost his shit. Was like, yo, you ain't breaking up with me. This, that, and the other. He goes to stab the baby mama. The daughter comes along and trying to stop him. Dude pulls out a pistol, shoots the daughter and the baby mom.
Yeah, I think if it's just gonna be, if y'all gonna pick a side, like there's a whole bunch of different scenarios you could come with.
Now hold up. Hold up. Had the daughter gone and she's trying to get the dude off of her mom. And she's a weak woman, and she goes and get a baseball bat and crack this nigga upside the back of the head or something, or hit him, and this motherfucker died. That's manslaughter. That wasn't her.
I'm not. I get it. I'm not going through. As an employer, I'm not going through all of that background history to see if it happened. You sold weed and nobody ever died, so you went to jail, but you was a drug dealer, but I give you a second chance. You sold crack, and as a result, 100 people OD'd that you never died, but you never knew about. But do I give you a chance? Because you kill people based off of the drugs that you're selling. But it's like, no, drugs is drugs. I have to feed my family. That's why I just rather go with it. No,
if I work for Jack Daniels.
All right, well, I would give a second.
Drunk drive, and they died due to the sale of Jack Daniels, but that's legal.
And I get convicted, and he gets convicted, and he goes to jail for it.
No, hear what I'm saying.
Super,
I'm selling.
Being a drug dealer is illegal. Now, that's a totally different conversation. That's not legal.
But you said
that's not illegal. It's not illegal. Selling crack is illegal.
But I think what Schubert is saying is like, but there really shouldn't be a distinction between selling drugs or selling alcohol. At the end of the day, when inebriated, you could.
So if the CEO of Jack Daniels did exactly what you said, and he came to me looking for a job, I wouldn't hire him either. Whether that's illegal or not.
You entitled.
I mean, on top of this,
I just to wrap this up, man. I just feel like it's unfortunate that we I don't know. I used to think that jail, or the way it used to often be presented, that jail is sort of supposed to be this sort of rehabilitation center or whatever and stuff. And when a person it's not. We all know it's not. But it's just like, it's to what Smith and Schubert are saying earlier. It's, what do you do with this individual when they're not giving this a second opportunity? And I think that's the tragic thing that I think it falls short on a lot of people. Like, you're going to basically create this vicious cycle where they're just going to find themselves back in the same circumstances because you're not giving them the opportunity to generate income from themselves or generate income for their families and stuff like that. So it's unfortunate that we had that sort of system in place. This is why you have politicians, that want to do what is it? Not jail reform, but like, what is that bill? Well, basically eliminate the check the box to indicate whether or not you've been incarcerated or convicted of anything, because they're seeing that, like, we got too many men in particular just out here with no shot at all. Like, you're not even eligible for government assistance. So it's just like,
give them a one-time payment of $20K and let them try to start their own business. Good luck.
$20K goes real far in an environment where the environment where inflation is at 7% and rent in some states is just like, all right. But then when that criminal come knocking at your door because he doesn't have a fucking opportunity,
because I'm one that pays child support, and the problem comes in that $20,000 will get taken for back child support, so that shit ain't gonna work.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Can't touch the child support. Can't touch it.
No, definitely.
At the end of the day,
I can't tell if you being funny or not.
At the end of the day, it's the fact of, like, most prisons, are not just filled up with nothing but, guys that are doing assault, murder, and rape. Those are more of the minority than the majority. The majority are people. If you look at statistics shows you one of the biggest reasons for the prison population is poverty. And when you're poor and you don't have it, you're more likely to steal it.
Yeah.
You're more likely to sell drugs.
A lot of dudes are repeat offenders, Schubert. They repeat offenders if you're doing something like that.
Why they repeat offenders? Because when they try to come and do the right thing, Cal says, "Fuck you, you get no job." So
no,
guess
but
what?
if you go
back out
no, but Schubert, if I go steal something from a store and I'm at a young age, I mean, I'm not saying robbery. Let's just say I'm that whatever the old people are stealing, that's to get stolen. No, you're not. Yeah, but I'm saying if you go shoplift because you need groceries or whatever, no, you're not. The likelihood of you going and serving jail time and having a criminal record the first time you do it is highly unlikely.
Okay.
When you do it over and
let's
over,
say the first time
again.
Let's say yes, but here's the thing. Let's say you don't go to jail that first time. Did that solve your problem? The whole thing is that you have a problem.
No, it should have taught you a lesson.
You don't have bread.
So like you got to go. So you got to go all the way through. So you're going all the way through jail. You got to serve.
Look,
Smith has the last point, and then we'll move on to the next story.
I said I am giving him a second chance. It's a moot point. You're not going to give him a second chance. I am going to give him a second chance.
Yeah.
That's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're choosing to stand on that, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be about what crime they committed. I just think that people deserve to get a second opportunity, and if you can provide one for them, then you give it to them. Otherwise, you have a revolving door cycle, as Cass said.
Yeah. All right, next story. And I thought this story was delicious to read because this kind of goes alongside to the book that we're reading. From the New York Post. CDC withholding COVID data over fears of misinterpretation. The CDC has admitted it's withholding large portion of COVID-19 data, including on vaccine boosters, from the public because it fears the information could be misinterpreted. The leading public health agency has only published a small sample of the data it has been collecting, despite being 2 years into the pandemic, sources told the New York Times. Christian Nordlund, a CDC spokesman, said that the reason for the slow release of the data is because basically at the end of the day, it's not ready for prime time. She added that the CDC's priority when gathering any data is to ensure that it's accurate and actionable. Among the data that has been collected but not made public is hospitalization broken down by age, race, vaccination status over the last year, and information on the effectiveness of booster shots. When the CDC released data on the effectiveness of boosters for adults younger than 65 2 weeks ago, it did not include full numbers of those between ages of 18 and 49. I probably do a couple more bullet points. The data showed that the booster shots were least likely to benefit younger adults because 2 shots of Moderna or Pfizer vaccines or 1 dose of Johnson & Johnson already left them well protected. The CDC has only just started releasing data on whether COVID is present in wastewater, even though some states have been providing figures since the beginning of the pandemic. Wastewater data can help public health officials predict whether there will be an influx of COVID-19 cases.
Sounds like your question, Black Zeus. How do you know what's true is true if you don't give all the information, right?
Can I make a request before somebody answers?
What's that?
Can we do like only one COVID story a month? I'm over fucking COVID now.
First off, if you go back and look at the archives of news stories, we have not covered any COVID news stories in the past 3 months. Now, the only time we talked about COVID is because the book your selection.
I know.
But outside of that, I have not made COVID a news story in several months. But I thought this was interesting based on the book that we're currently reading and secrecy and lack of transparency. But Smith, you had more to say, or no,
I was just saying that Black Zeus has said, I think it was last week when he said, how do you trust the information? How do you know how to trust the information that you're getting? If you're not getting all the information, how do you know that it's correct and shit like that? But at the end of the day, this is another one of them ploys. You know what I mean? Don't think that it'll be misinterpreted. Don't think that the public are fools. Don't think that people are fucking babies. You give them the information and you let them digest it how they're going to digest it. Don't say, oh, we're not going to give you all the information because you might misinterpret it. Am I really? Or am I going to really look at it and say, oh, y'all been on some bullshit? Which one is it? I'm done. I ain't no long-winded over here.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say that I'm over COVID, and this sounds like some of the same ploys that they've been doing already. Like they're just trying to manipulate, the story that they're sending out and the numbers that's sent out. I had COVID. Shit wasn't too bad. Everybody get vaccinated or don't. That's where I'm at with it. The government ain't gonna stop doing what they doing as far as, sending, doling out the information to the public in the manner that they want to give it out to control the narrative. So, whatever.
That was the wrong button. I should have hit bruh. Go ahead.
You can be done with COVID. COVID ain't done with you, nigga.
Damn, son.
Yeah, COVID ain't never gonna be done with us, bro. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I told you we was done with that shit. Told you when that shit started. I already knew that shit. You ain't gotta give me the information. You can misinterpret it all you want. I got a fucking brain, and I'm educated enough to read into my own shit. So
if I only had a brain.
Black Zeus.
Some bullshit. Just give me the information. That's all.
I see both sides of the issue. I can see where people are upset if they don't get every bit of information, but I can also understand the fact that not just because you give everyone information is that they're well qualified to discern the information, especially if it's not put into context.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we've seen throughout this entire pandemic is that because there's been lack of information, extra information, incorrect information. Information can be very dangerous, in the wrong, when it's not in the right context, when the wrong people get it, when the media, uses it. Like at the end of the day, take it day by day. When you get information, try to process it, try to get well-qualified advice. I don't take, financial advice from my doctor. I take it from my fiduciary,
Mm-hmm.
So same thing when it comes to medical things dealing with the medical profession. I go to a qualified, medical professional. And when I say qualified medical professional, I don't mean the nurse or the techs or people that work in a hospital. That is not qualified as a medical professional. Their level of education is very limited, believe it or not. Just because they wear, scrubs does not mean that they're equivalent to a medically trained doctor. That's all.
That's true. For me, I think, I'm not going to parrot a lot of the talking points that I've been spewing for the past year and a half. We've been having these conversations. I just would ultimately just take one of the quotes that I remember reading when I pulled the New York Times article, and it comes down to like the public trust. And unfortunately, this does compromise how people view the CDC. And what I find tragic about all of this is there will be a fucking virus that is going to have a higher fatality rate than COVID. And I think the CDC at this point, I've seen people on the right who've been consistently disregarding the CDC from the onslaught of this. And I've seen people on the left who's been very progressive, very, very pro Fauci, very pro CDC, who have turned their backs on this agency. And it's sad because there will be a time where the fatality is going to be so high with a virus, and people are not going to fully trust the CDC as an agency anymore. And that's the sad thing about it.
This is why I think they should put all the information out, because in the beginning of this, they were flip-flopping with the information, and that's why you get people not believing. So like you said, next time that something happens and it's bigger, we don't believe you because you don't believe us to be able to take on this information. You think
Correct.
We're going to misinterpret the information. I ain't misinterpreting shit if you give me the information correctly. You know what I mean? And
is that really the case, though?
The flip side of it is the CDC right now is saying they're talking about undoing everybody, but based off of what science, if you're not giving everybody the fucking information. So that's the problem. Don't think that lying the CDC has admitted it is withholding large portions of COVID-19 data, including on vaccine boosters, because they fear that the information could be misinterpreted. Nah, that's a problem, bro. That's a problem.
Why not just? Would y'all feel better if they just didn't say that they was holding it? If they didn't tell everybody that they were?
Yeah, I will. Don't tell people that you're not giving them all the information.
Yeah, I'm with Smith on that. I think they could have, when you doing dirt, just keep doing dirt. It's just like, don't tell anybody. If you're cheating on your wife, man, just don't volunteer that information.
Yeah, don't volunteer the information. What the fuck? Like, you don't.
Yeah.
Yes, I will feel better not knowing it all than telling me that, well, you don't trust me with the information. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. All right, last story. Hopefully I can squeeze this one in. I think this is an interesting one. This is from the Business Insider. New York Mayor Eric Adams decries.
You let us be the judge of that. How interesting it is. Go ahead.
Man, you know what? What's my? I don't got a fuck you button. All right, next I'll be sure to incorporate that.
He's like, yo, man, where's that?
Yes. Oh man, that just made me dizzy.
Oh my God. Next one up. This from the Business Insider.
I like the title of it though. I like the title.
Yeah. Mayor Eric Adams decries remote work. You can't stay home in your PJs or pajamas all day. New York City Mayor Eric Adams renewed his call for New Yorkers to return to office on Wednesday, posting that remote work is economically unsustainable and ultimately harmful to low-income New Yorkers. In order for our economic financial ecosystem, I should say, to function, we have to have human interaction, Adams said at an economic development event at Brooklyn, Navy Yard. It can't be done from home. And if we do that, then we're going to greatly impact low-wage workers. After making similar point on remote work back in early January, Adams sparred with AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a fellow New York Democrat, over his comment that low-skilled workers don't have the academic skills to sit in the corner office. When you talk about closing down our city, you're talking about putting low-wage workers out of a job. I'm not letting that happen. So it's imperative that our economic leaders sit down, say what our business centers and districts are going to look like. Do we change zoning? Do we allow for these new workforce housing that's coming outside together? Because that's the new ways of doing business. So we need to look at all those things. So fellas, how do we feel about a mayor basically trying to strong arm companies to eliminate remote work?
Put them clothes on and go to work, bro.
Who's to say they're not working? They're still working.
They need somebody in them offices to pay that rent. That's all that shit's about, bro. Like, read through the.
Yeah, I honestly, if the job is just as effective.
Well, I got a question before we get into the answers. Who is this low-skilled worker?
Low-skilled worker?
Yeah, he caught a lot of flack for that statement.
Who is this low-skilled worker that he's referring to?
Because he's the retail stores, the guy who shines shoes.
Think of it like this: Brad gets up and he goes to Wall Street. Brad got to get up and he's got to let's say he's got to get up and he got to go take the bus downtown Penn Station. So that keeps the bus driver with a job. Then he gets off of the bus and he stops at Penn Station. He picks up a cup of coffee at McDonald's. That gets the people at McDonald's a job and a bagel. I mean,
okay, well, wait. Because the first one you started with the bus, and I don't think the bus is a low-skilled worker. I'm just saying.
You drive a bus. How hard of a skill is that? I know some dumbass
but people retire as bus drivers. I'm not going to say that's a low-skilled worker, though.
But here's the thing: in
my eyes, I'm just trying to figure out what's the low skill. If you're talking about the shoe shinesman, I can agree with that. The bus driver, that you need the bus driver.
Here's the thing, Smith.
That's like saying the low-skilled worker. If he's not there, he's not going anywhere.
It is. Any job that you can do with a high school education is basically a low-skilled worker.
Well, some of these jobs you can do with college educations too, though. I'm just saying.
Yes, but they're not low-skilled.
Why? Because they got a degree and they still a bus driver?
They're specific degrees.
Listen to what I said.
For a specific skill.
I have a college degree and I'm still a bus driver. Does that make me a low-skilled worker?
No, it doesn't make you a low-skilled worker.
Right, because I got a degree?
No, stop.
No, wait, you said a bus driver.
Oh my God, you got to let somebody speak, man.
Because I just asked you a question and you said a bus driver is a low-skilled worker, correct?
You didn't let me answer it.
You did answer it.
No, I did not.
Go ahead.
I'll wait.
All right. Let me just ask
a bus driver with a college degree a low-skilled worker? You're saying they're not. And I'm saying, but you said a bus
driver. The job is a low-skilled job. You don't need a degree to drive a bus.
I understand
you don't need
that.
a degree to do Uber. Anything you do not need a specific level of education to do the job, and that anyone can do it, is qualified as a low-skilled job. If you can do it without any major education, it is a low-skilled job. That is the whole definition behind a low-skilled job. That I can take any motherfucker off the street with half a brain to do your job. It takes no skill. It takes no talent. It takes no major education.
All right. Now that we've defined that, your further thoughts in regards to Mayor Adams trying to get people who are remoting at home to come into the physical office.
But at the end of the day, my point is the fact of
let me know when I could go.
Every person that goes to work, their money is somebody else's money. When they're paying for services, they're paying for products, they're paying for, they're paying to get their clothes clean. if these things are not happening, they don't have a need for them, then that the money's not moving and the economic system isn't moving. And the people who suffer the most are low-skilled workers because they depend on those other people's, foot traffic in order to generate an income. They can't work from home. They have to be on. They have to be on site.
Essential workers are not low skilled; they're low wage.
Who said essential workers are low? What are we talking about right now? We're not talking about essential workers.
We're talking about our essential workers, brother. They are.
No, I'm not talking about essential workers.
The bus driver is essential. These are essential people.
That is a different discussion.
Yeah, that's slightly different, Smith. Like I think because first responders are essential.
Low skilled people. They're just low wage. They're still essential workers. I hear what you're saying.
Bus drivers are not low wage. Bus drivers start off at like $25 an hour.
They only have a high school degree. They're low skill, and I'm saying it's not you. The phrase is all wrong, and I get it. I'm just
that's the flag that
you know what I mean.
Mayor Adams
got the phrase is correct.
Low wage worker,
the phrase is correct.
These are still essential people.
A skill. Here's the thing.
But
no way.
Anybody can
skill, bro. I'm sorry. Like I'm not.
Anybody can drive. Anybody can drive a car. So that's why anybody could be an Uber driver.
Okay.
But not anybody can drive Indianapolis 500 car.
Not anybody can drive a bus either. Fuck.
We could debate the terms that was used. Clearly, obviously, Mayor Eric Adams has got scolded by people like AOC regarding this. Henry, do you have anything to say regarding Mayor Adams and the remote work saying?
Yeah, if the job can be done at home, let them do it at home. I don't think that enough people are going to end up working from home to stop the bus drivers and the freaking train drivers from going, because there's a lot of people who still went into work. So you're still going to need the same amount of bus drivers if you got some people who go at 7:45, some people go at 9:50. Like the schedules aren't going to change. So
disagree.
Go for it.
I only disagree because of the fact of the people who can work from home usually are the ones that have the higher salaries, and they do more spending. At the end of the day, they do more spending. The guy who is, going to go to work at McDonald's or at, local spots, he's not spending no money. So his money is too small to pay for other people to make money. You need those you need those people. That's why I use Bradley as an example. You need that Wall Street person. You need that lawyer, that accountant, those people that work in offices to come out and spend money because they have more of a disposable income.
Like the restaurant owner is not operating the same way. Yeah, they're not operating the same way. They're not hiring the same amount of waiters, chefs, because of the lack of foot traffic. I will say this to wrap this up so we get into the book. I feel like Mayor Eric, I understand his plea. I feel like he's not fully understanding that we are entering another industrial revolution. America has had 4 of them. Most recently, we've had the internet energy renewable revolution in the 2000s. That kind of shifted the way we do things. We no longer send hard mail. We do emails, and you could go down the list. We had most notably like the industrial revolution of like the rail system, oil, gas, and I think we are now entering another revolution where these commercial buildings are just basically going to become unnecessary based on the way technology is shaping up to be. And I think Mayor Adams, he's trying to fight a value and fight for the people who are essential workers, low skill, however you want to call it. I just think that what he's falling short on is like, look, if I could work from Hawaii and do my job, nigga, so what? It's like, I get it, but it's just like, I think you can't demand some shit like that because at the end of the day, people are clamoring for remote work. Everybody, if you're capable of having remote work, everybody's asking for it, regardless of the profession.
But here's the thing: when that happens, and what he's saying is that just remember, one hand washes the other. When these when these low income workers don't have an income because everybody wants to stay working from home and keep their money to themselves. And these office buildings go out of business. So there's no janitor, there's no this, that, and the other. All these people lose their jobs and lose their incomes, and the streets get real. And we go back to that whole theft situation that we were talking about earlier. Then what y'all gonna say?
Well, the people who have been high earners and been remoting from home, they have been spending their money. It's not like they're hoarding it. They're like people are
not hoarding.
like some people have basically taken the time to remodel their houses, like the remodeling. Yeah, and some people have taken that money and said, "Yeah, I'm going to travel more often." So it's being spent, but it's not
over in the community, and that's the problem.
Exactly,
that's the problem.
Yeah,
that's
the problem.
To get at.
Yeah, but what it's going to do is, but the thing is, that's the same concern that people had when people left the horse to jump into the car, like the horse and buggy sort of situation. Like everyone's crying, like, "Oh my God, this is going to eliminate." Nah, it's just like, yo, you're gonna have to adapt to the new economy.
Yeah, but the thing with the horse and buggy thing is that here's the difference. The automobile boom created more jobs. Somebody had to build the cars. Mm-hmm. Somebody had to get the materials.
But they had to upgrade their skill set.
Yes, they had to upgrade. But the whole thing
those people who are essential workers, low skill, or however you want to use the term, they're going to have to upgrade their skill set. That's the new economy.
But that's the thing is the fact of their skill set. Even if they upgrade to what? If all the low end stuff is out of the
next how many is going to be?
Yeah, exactly, bro.
Like buttons to pushing the Roby and making the fucking robots work and shit. They gotta be better at pushing buttons, bro. Like
exactly. That's
but
what it is.
But the whole thing is the robots are making the robots.
But we're gonna face that sort of situation down the line. But I just think that to Smith's point, like he echoed, those people are just going to have to shift on where the economy is shifting. It's not a complete elimination of those jobs. It's just that some folks are going to have to transition. That's the unfortunate part.
It's kind of like the thing where you go in Walmart and now you got less registers with real people at them. It's like
exactly that. Like what do we cry about all the cashiers that lost their job with all the fucking new cashless registers? It is what it is.
Go stock the shelf.
I'm about to say, they could actually go to the fucking restaurants that I have to wait 30 minutes for when it's empty tables because niggas don't want to be a server.
Yeah, so people still going out to eat. It's just that environment and that economy is suffering, but those people are going to have to adapt. But anyway,
Manhattan is struggling and Eric trying to get that shit back popping.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's basically what it is.
All right, fellas, let's transition to the book. Last week of a riveting book, The Deception Point, written by Dan Brown. We have some good questions here, so let's get into it. Oh man,
what you think about that, Cash?
What, this nomination?
Yeah.
I don't know. The thing is, I see a lot of people celebrating it. Her credentials seems legit. I don't know, man. She definitely is what they call a progressive judge. Don't know what the fuck that's supposed to mean. I thought judges need to just rule in the middle. Like, I didn't know. And I hate that's the case in our nation, that, when we talk about Supreme Court seats, that, you got X amount of conservative judges and you got X amount of fucking progressive judges. And I'm like, what happened just having a judge who could just rule on what the fuck the law is? Like, to Shuba's point, I think he mentioned that. Yeah.
And that's the thing, is the fact of, like, think about what we're saying, is the fact of we are putting judges in place that we already know has a bias.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what we're saying. We're saying we're picking judges with a bias to make decisions on things. Like that. Whew, intellectual dishonesty in this shit.
Yeah. Like that's the shit that bothers me about that. It's just like I forget which article led with it, but it's just like Biden picks his first black woman. This is a step in the direction for like democratic progressiveness. And I'm like, That's interesting.
Is it?
The flip side of this, I'm looking at this lady and I'm like, I know nothing of her.
Yeah.
I know nothing about her. I don't know where she came from, what she's done. I would like to find some of that out because at the end of the day, you know, to just have a face that looks a certain way doesn't mean that the you know, that what she believes in is going to be on that. And I told you all the other day, these lifetime terms on the Supreme Court, you know, she's going to be on there forever now.
Yeah, she's going to be there to her very last breath, quite possibly.
Yeah. Going to be there forever. It's like, but I don't know what, and the reason I say I don't know much about her because if she's this person that's so great, I think I should have heard about her. I'm just saying, like,
not necessarily.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. There's a lot of judges out there.
I heard about Barack Obama before he was running for president.
I have my own conspiracy theory hat on that. That was a whole propaganda. Yeah, they propped him up.
No, I get all that, but I heard about him before he became president, though.
Well, because he spoke at the DNC convention.
So what I'm saying is, where has she? Like, I haven't heard of her. Is what I'm saying.
Well, I don't think judges get that sort of. They don't do those sort of speaking events.
Something like what is she known for? Like,
I didn't know Clarence Thomas.
I knew what Clarence Thomas. Exactly. You know Clarence Thomas. No, you knew.
Bro, I didn't know who Clarence Thomas was
before he got nominated. No.
Before he got nominated, shit, I don't know. Most of these judges are before they get nominated.
That's like saying you knew who Colonel Powell was before he became
Secretary of Defense.
Secretary, yeah.
I didn't know who he was either. You're damn right. Or Condoleezza Rice.
I knew Colonel Powell before he became Secretary of Defense.
I didn't.
Really?
I'll be honest. I didn't.
How?
What do you mean?
What capacity?
Because
in what capacity? What was he before that?
He was part of the NAACP. He was a branch leader before he became the big dude. Actually.
Okay, so you know him from the NAACP.
They used to have these,
but his career-wise, I'm talking about career.
And they would put all of the little black people in there, and I would see them, and I knew him because of that. But as far as his career, I mean, he got bigger. You got to remember, Colin Powell been around since the Martin Luther King time, so he's.
I got that, but I'm talking career-wise.
What do you mean? Like speaking going for his career?
Speaking in the sense of when he got the job as a Secretary of Defense. Mm-hmm. Just like this woman's getting this job as a Supreme Court justice. Mm-hmm. Like, what did you know about their career?
No. So this is the difference. I didn't know much about his career, but I knew the person. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I've never heard of this lady, though. That's all I'm saying. Like, I don't know of her. And what I'm saying is some of these other people I have heard of their names, and I can kind of, you know, it's kind of like what I was telling you all where I got Bill Pickering from. I heard the name, but I know this guy from someplace else. So when he's saying William Pickering in his book, I'm like, wait, where the fuck is that? I know of that person. So all I'm saying is I just don't know of anything. I know she's a judge and shit, and I can look at all this shit up here and they're saying shit about Trump and all this bullshit. But I'm just saying, like, what is she, you know?
Yeah, you got to be very into this political game.
You got to be into the political. That's what I'm saying. That's
political arena to know this because there's no way, man. Even I try to say that I keep up to date with American politics. There's no way in hell I would have known who this chick was. Hopefully, but like I said, my criticism is really, and this goes for both parties. Like whenever they get the opportunity to nominate a Supreme Court judge, it's like it's always, well, this is a conservative leaning judge, this is a progressive leaning, and it's just like, yo, what? I thought judges were supposed to just rule on the law or their best rule on how they interpret the law versus the case. Like
you're a judge with preconceived notions?
Yeah, like that should not be the case, man.
The case.
Yeah, so because I don't know.
You're already going to be swayed. You're already swaying yourself one way. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Now, she seems
that means the fact that you're going to hit everything with a bias. So it's kind of like when we talk all the time about black and white issues. If you're going to hit it with a bias, where it's just like, well, white privilege, this, that, and the other, even when the black person's in the wrong, you're still going to say that they're not, you know, because you have a bias that you're agenda that you're trying to push, and that's
Exactly.
that's not helping any of us.
Mm-mm.
Like, we want things to be fair and equal. So the whole thing is judges should have, or I'm not gonna say should have, because that's impossible to say that they won't have some bias, but they shouldn't be showing any bias.
Yeah, they shouldn't be showing it. Yes, yeah.
They shouldn't be blatantly saying, "Oh, I'm conservative, I'm Republican, I'm Democrat, I'm liberal, I'm this, that, I'm progressive." You know,